It was a mission so secret that even the men sent to die on it were never told the full truth. And yet its success quietly changed the course of World War II. In World War II, history remembers massive invasions, famous generals, and iconic battles. But hidden beneath those headlines were missions so dangerous and classified that failure was expected, not avoided. One such mission began in silence, without parades, without press, and without guarantees of survival. In early 1943, Allied intelligence intercepted fragments of information suggesting that Nazi Germany was developing a new class of guidance systems for long-range weapons. If perfected, these systems could allow Germany to strike deep into Allied territory with unprecedented accuracy. The problem was not just stopping the weapons, it was understanding how they worked. And the only way to do that was to steal the technology itself, from behind enemy lines. The location was deep inside occupied Europe, in a remote coastal research facility protected by cliffs, minefields, and German naval patrols. Bombing it risked destroying the very intelligence the Allies needed. Sending conventional troops would alert the enemy instantly. What followed was a decision so risky it bordered on madness. A small hand-picked team would infiltrate the coast by sea, enter the facility at night, extract critical components, and escape before dawn. There would be no reinforcements, no air support, no second chance. The men chosen were not ordinary soldiers. They were engineers, linguists, demolition experts, and sailors, trained not just to fight, but to think. Many were told only hours before departure. Some were never told the full objective at all. Their orders were simple and terrifying. Get in, get the equipment, and if capture was imminent, destroy everything, including yourselves if necessary. The silence that followed the briefing was heavier than fear. Every man understood what this mission truly meant. The insertion began under cover of a moonless night. A single submarine surfaced miles off the coast, its engines barely whispering against the dark sea. Rubber boats were lowered quietly, each packed with men and equipment. The water was freezing. The shoreline ahead was jagged rock, patrolled by German sentries who believed the cliffs made landing impossible. That assumption was the first crack in their defense. The team climbed, slipped, bled, but made it ashore undetected. Once inland, time became the enemy. German patrols moved unpredictably. Trains passed nearby. Lights flickered in the distance. The facility itself looked unremarkable. Low buildings, fences, guard towers. But inside were components the Allies desperately needed. Gyroscopes, guidance circuits, and experimental control systems years ahead of anything the Allies possessed. As the team breached the structure, they worked with surgical precision, removing parts while demolition charges were quietly placed as insurance. Then everything went wrong. A patrol arrived early. Gunfire erupted in the darkness, brief but violent. One man was wounded. Another stayed behind to delay pursuit, knowing he would not escape. Inside the facility, alarms began to sound. The team made a decision that would later be studied in military academies. They abandoned secondary objectives and focused only on what truly mattered. The most critical components were secured, wrapped, and carried out under fire. The escape was chaos. German troops flooded the area. Searchlights cut through the night. The team split into groups, drawing enemy forces away from the shoreline. One boat capsized under fire. Men swam in darkness, holding equipment above water while bullets struck the sea around them. When the submarine finally submerged with survivors aboard, not everyone was present. Silence returned, but it was the silence of loss. What the Allies recovered changed everything. Back in Britain, scientists disassembled the captured components and immediately understood the threat Germany was facing and how to counter it. Jamming techniques were developed, decoy systems were improved. Entire bombing campaigns were adjusted based on what had been learned. German weapons that were once terrifyingly accurate suddenly began to fail, missing targets, malfunctioning, or being intercepted. The enemy never understood why. Officially, the mission never existed. Families of the men who died were told vague stories. Records were sealed. Medals were awarded quietly years later, if at all. The success of the operation was buried under classification stamps and forgotten by the public. But its impact echoed through the remainder of the war. It saved cities, it saved fleets, it saved lives. What makes this mission extraordinary is not just its danger, but its acceptance of sacrifice. The planners knew not everyone would return. The men knew it too, and they went anyway. Not for glory, not for recognition, but because they understood something simple and terrifying. Sometimes the most important victories are the ones no one is ever allowed to know about. World War II was not won only by armies crashing into each other. It was won by silence, shadows, and men willing to walk into darkness so others would never have to. This was one of those moments. A mission never meant to succeed. A mission never meant to be remembered. And a mission that quietly helped decide the war.